guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber Kyuujin, and today it is time to go back to our roots, guy, with Viking Valhalla.
Episode 1 of Season 1. I did not look at the title of the episode, but I'm excited. It's been a while since we finished Vikings. We saw Last Kingdom after, and when Vikings Valhalla came out, we wanted to watch it. We waited till we finished Last Kingdom because we were like, okay, way too many Vikings show at the same time. But we were excited still because it's a universe that we missed. The powerful, what's the word, ceremonies, the culture and stuff, just the way they show it is fucking great always, and I was excited to see what else they could do with this. I know that Valhalla, this one, is many years in the future after Vikings, so we might see, the traces of what we know from Vikings, but they're no longer around. No one that we know is still around. I don't know how many years in the future we are, but still to know that what we'll see was built by the characters we love,
yeah,
it's gonna do something to my heart. Yes.
Do you think you're gonna mention their names?
Maybe as legends or inspirations or something, but I'm excited to see what places we're gonna go back to. When we finished Vikings, we had, just discovered America, Greenland, Iceland. These were new places that were barely touched, because I know the first... I said I did not remember the first episode, but now I do. The Greenlanders, I think.
The Greenlanders?
So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, we saw them touch foot, just walk on Greenland for the first time. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of callbacks, and like I said, I'm excited. So without further ado, let's just jump in this first episode.
Let's go back,
see what they have in store for us. Don't forget to subscribe, you guys, if you want to see more of these episodes. Check out our Patreon for the full-length reactions, as well as the next episode, who is already going to be there, or it's going to be there later today. But yeah, let's go, guys.
In the meantime, the exploit of the Great
Mentions.
Viking brought a fade into legend.
But it's here.
And the 100 years that followed, Vikings left their northern homelands and settled across Europe, many in England.
Like he wanted. When in the Last Kingdom is this? This is the question I'm asking you guys. Like we asked when in Vikings is the Last Kingdom, now we're asking when
in the Last Kingdom it is.
Tonight, on St. Brice's Day, we say goodbye to my baby brother, Prince Harald Sigurdsson, the someday King of Norway.
Another king, okay.
Stay safe till I see you again.
The thing is, we also know that Vikings is not the best at accurate representation of history, so...
To London. Your Highness, we came as soon as we could. You said it was urgent, sire. Is there a threat?
Yes.
There always is.
My predecessors established the Danelaw.
We've been here so long, many of us no longer remember our own language.
They probably feel they are Saxon. That's the problem, you see.
They are not?
They're not.
What are you gonna
This is
do?
not their home. There is only one way to purify the field.
Massacre?
Tonight, I order that all Vikings
Bitch.
be exterminated.
Bitch. Okay. We were at peace. There's always gonna be some shit who starts war. They fought so much to bring fucking peace back then, and you're just throwing them back to the beginning. Well, welcome back to Vikings.
The slaughter did not go unnoticed in the north, where King Canute of Denmark sent out a call for all Vikings to gather in Kattegat and follow me to a revenge.
We're here we go again. You want to treat us like shit?
The North Sea near Kattegat.
We're home. It's been done before, the Great Dane Army. We can do that again. I would hate this part of the job. No, wave! No! must feel miserable filming this and being in this situation. Yeah, damn. Kattegat!
It's not him. No.
So it was his brother we saw die.
Yeah.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
put faces to names, and which you guys know is not my strong suit.
His brother is the one who tried to aim at the
Yeah.
King Ethelred.
It is more beautiful than I ever imagined.
We know.
We know. It's changed so much.
Hey, they took some
And bigger.
advice from Frodo from Fence.
From France,
Yeah. They use the same thing for the blockade for the both.
you learn from your mistakes, and you
How in Odin's name did you avoid the storm?
Did any ships from the west make it in last night?
Just 2 ships before the storm.
Sister, lover, wife.
don't know yet. Just trying to remember season 1 Vikings, how small this used to be.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of it, it became a huge part for the.
Now it's
Or
for
the trade.
commerce and trade, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's people from all over now.
Where are you from?
Greenland.
What kind of journey was it?
Bad.
Long. 5 weeks. No stops.
Cross open ocean in this?
That's how they used to do it in the day.
Then you are easily impressed.
My standards are quite high.
So am I.
I'm Harald Sigurdsson.
My name is Freydis.
I would think a hot bath would sound good to someone with high standards.
Stop cruising, man. Fast forward to 5 minutes later. I do wonder what they made of Greenland in those 100 years since,
Yeah.
we did not leave Greenland in good hands.
No.
And with a nice, vibe going, so I don't know.
Join us. Tell us your name. Leif Erikson.
The name seems familiar to me.
What has brought you to Kattegat?
The lore, man, I want to see the sets.
Looking for a Viking who wears his cross.
Hey, where did you get this coat? I want it. Pay you double what it cost you.
This is what it cost me. Double what it killed me.
I'm Alfrun from Trondelag. And if I say I want your coat, your answer is yes, Alfrun.
You can go fuck yourself, Alfred.
No, Alfred.
I like him. He's got an
But
attitude.
seriously, Leif Erikson, I know that name.
He could be, famous.
But I have to look it up, seriously.
You guys will help us with the lore. As you've always done.
Do you not know where you are? This is sacred ground.
I'm sorry.
And he started it. Let yourself get killed. This is holy ground.
What does this man and his cross mean to you? It is my business. It is an English cross, Greenlander. Only a Viking who has spent time there would wear a cross like this.
There isn't much. We got a lot of them who used to live in England.
Told you. 5 minutes later.
You always like this when you come off a boat.
Are you complaining?
Imagine if she's not coming off a boat.
Something wrong?
Just wondering how it is you're not from Kattegat but have a tug.
I am the great-grandson of Harold Finehair.
I don't know who that is.
I do.
Is this his?
Told you we were gonna
Why are
throw
you
in
in
names.
Revenge.
I've come to find someone. When I was younger, a man came to our home when my father and brothers were away. He told me he was a Christian Viking. He raped me many times and beat me and called me a pagan whore. When he finally finished, he took out his knife, carved it on my back, saying he was converting me.
Crazy people out there.
What is this criminal's name?
There's a ship coming.
He's just fucking ignoring the guy.
Don't worry, it's my brother.
It's interesting that we've moved from that constant war in Vikings, Christians versus Vikings,
Yeah.
to having a Christian Viking being right now at least the enemy we're looking for. Times change, and it's a good way for me to, interpret this as there's never a good side or a bad side in these sorts of war. You can have someone that kind of represents both sides and he's an asshole, he's the worst.
It's him.
Brother. Isn't that the man?
Yes, it was.
Okay, conflict of interest.
By the gods, it's an army.
They're preparing for
They are.
revenge.
You wanna make to do a revenge, yeah. And you wanna go into that camp to kill one guy?
Doesn't matter your reasons, you would turn this whole army on you.
Better think this through.
I present King Canute of Denmark. Jarl Olaf, I've heard much about you.
Thank you, Your Highness, as have I.
I understand that you have knowledge of the English defenses.
We built them for King Athelred.
That's
Bernard
good.
placed them himself.
That is handy.
Then, your skills are invaluable to our cause.
That's what happens when you betray people who were supposed to be your allies, man.
You have gathered many tribes here. A great many of those tribes are
He's a
pagans.
Christian
Jarl
Viking.
Olaf,
It's not about
I
Christians
know
and
no
pagans.
distinction between pagan or Christian.
But I do.
Yeah, you piece
And I
of
refuse to fight with them.
Well, you can go.
Would you expect that he's gonna
Therefore,
fucking
you must
throw away
have
half
considered
the
the
army?
I have a mass conversion.
Oh,
Are
please.
you insane? What you suggest would start a civil war.
That is my offer.
Then I am sorry for you, Jarl Olaf.
I like him.
Okay.
Like, no distinction that these are people, Christians or pagans, it's the same. Like him.
It's not a war on religion, man, so fuck off. Call his bluff, basically be like, nope.
Revenge is the motive of the heathen.
Why are you here then, bitch?
Your savior has no problem with English gold. You know more about the English than just their defenses. You know about their wealth. Canute will not change his plans to accommodate your piety. And when he conquers England, he will use those riches to expand his empire. What will all your saintliness have achieved for you? I urge you to take a broader view of your Christian mission, half-brother. It may better serve you and your savior in the long run.
He knows you well.
You like gold more than your Christ.
Over 100 years ago, a great Viking army set off for England to avenge the death of Ragnar Lothbrok.
Lead by Ivar, Obba, Sigurd, and Vitzer.
And after many great victories, our people were invited to settle into communities there. We sent our loved ones to live and work there.
You spat on that.
A year ago, all that changed.
And not even on a proper battlefield, like just fucking stabbed in the back, surprised them. When they were supposed to have a peace treaty, which is the
have
worst.
been summoned here to avenge the death of our
We're doing
people
this again! Great Army Part 2!
and to show the English that they cannot murder Vikings and expect us to do nothing. Ivar the Boneless and Björn Ironside would not.
No, they wouldn't.
You are here because you are Vikings.
Damn, man!
He's seen Ivor in the previous show and he was like, okay, I can do better. It's gonna be tough, but he's gonna try. He's good.
We'll fight the English, but not with Christians.
Oh, stop.
Christians killed my family.
They killed Christians too, not just Vikings. They literally burned a church.
These men are nothing but idolaters, worshippers of Satan.
Oh, come on.
Ah, man, being in the middle of this.
Enough!
Yeah.
You say you'll never fight with Christians, but what am I? Did you not love me like a son?
I think fruits are about to come out today.
I saw your sister the night of the massacre. What would she say about your refusal to fight with your brothers here? Would she not call you a coward?
You have a common fucking goal.
That your God is Odin or Christ means nothing to me. Only your honor does.
I like him too.
Only your courage does. This blood, it is our blood. It is Viking blood.
God damn. That's what we need. Great-great-grandson of Harold, man?
Yeah. Him and King Canute from Denmark, they know what's going on. Like, you as people.
But like,
No
it's,
Christians, no pagan Viking, just Vikings together.
I think it inspired him a little bit, but it's still one speech. Down the line when they're fighting, there's still gonna be some people fighting each other in there. Like, it's not a united army, unfortunately.
What is your name?
Freydis Eriksdotter.
Erik, from Jaren. Do not worry, I was a friend. You're a long way from home, Freydis.
World is so small. How did you stumble upon her here?
I am on a mission.
This is no longer a land safe for believers in the old ways. Only Kattegat is safe. When you see your father again, tell him hello. From Estrid Håkan.
Felt like her dad was dead, so I don't know.
Your father's Erik Thorvaldsen, yes? Erik the Red?
Uh-huh.
Is that to you? Your father killed our brother Sven.
That's a name I heard before.
You're making a mistake.
No, Erikson. The mistake was yours.
He's a good fighter.
They attacked first.
They always attack first, but somehow he's the one being told, like, this is sacred ground.
You're just like your father. You're wrong. If I was like my father, you would all be dead.
Fair point. But now you got noticed, so I don't think you're gonna manage to sneak anywhere.
Suppose when you have a father like Erik the Red, you learn to fight like that.
You're a good speaker.
Did I move you? Freydis said you captained your boat all the way from Greenland. Could use good ship captains who can fight. I can promise great glory if you join us in England.
I thought you were going to England for revenge.
Yeah, but that's part of the deal.
But true Vikings always reach for glory. It's what defines us.
That's mostly why they're called Vikings.
Like I said, you're a good speaker. I'll think about it.
It is an honor to be here in Kattegat, in the great hall of Ragnar Lothbrok and his sons. To eat from the same table as Lagertha. Now is our time to make history.
Whatever you are planning, do not act on it.
He had the look of someone planning something.
My sister is ready to attack.
Yeah.
Hello, Christian.
Oh, oh wait. Ah.
It's my time to give you a cross.
I thought for sure it was the other one.
No, it was the guy who I thought was familiar. I also thought it was the other one.
This is not your house, Jarl Olaf! Only I render judgment here.
I demand justice!
As do I. That man raped me was judged guilty of his crimes in Greenland.
Lies!
Well, she has the scar to prove it.
I believe her!
Well, he saw the scar.
You must show them.
But then, do you think that's not gonna make some problems between Vikings and Christian again?
He did this to her! Silence!
They change sides quickly.
I will render judgment in the morning.
We will await her ruling. Take them away.
We're gonna be fine. She likes us. She knew her dad. He's also familiar, by the way. I don't know. Some faces I've seen before. The episode went quickly.
We must keep an eye on those siblings.
Yeah.
It's got a couple of siblings in there, but these two, the brother and sister Joe, I mean.
The Greenlanders.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to Vikings, you guys. Death and religion and suffering.
It is good to be back.
It is good. I expected less callbacks, but then again, it's the first episode of the follow-up series. It makes sense that they would call them. They know what it's doing to us,
But I
and it's
mean,
working.
When you want to rally people and bring them in the spirit to revenge and war, you bring back legends. Ragnar.
The people who did great things.
Yeah, Ragnar, Ivar, Bjorn, Lagertha.
Oh, everyone from the first series, man. But I meant as, the showrunners know what they're doing. Like I said, Vikings was not known to be perfect when it comes to history. They take stuff,
some liberties there and there.
Like, they'll mix characters together. They'll give feats to people who have not done this. Like, their thing is to make stories based on, the stories that already exist. So, what we know from Last Kingdom is probably better, according to the actual text and what actually happened, than Vikings. But in the lore of Vikings, this is what they know. This is what we know from the story. So, I don't really give a shit if they existed or not. It's inspiring. It's great. It gives me chills. I'm fine. Okay, so we're 100 years after, at the very least, after the Great Army. So whenever they went there to avenge Ragnar. we have some people that are family to, well, distant family or, you know, descendants from those that we used to know. At the very least, Harold. So that's cool.
When I mean like
Fine hair.
grandkids or more or less.
I do wonder if we're gonna see other characters who are descendant. Like, that would be cool to kind of know that, oh, they still have a legacy going. At the very least, we know that those from Greenland, well, no, that's not true. The siblings, their dad was banished from Norway. So they're not descendants from those who were in Greenland.
Their dad is Eric the Red, right?
Yeah, I heard his name before.
Me
They
too.
mentioned him. I think in Vikings they mentioned him. Or I mean, people in the comments mentioned him because they gave. Wasn't there a character that was kind of inspired by Eric?
Yeah.
So maybe, but it's not the same guy for sure. He would be way too old. But it's cool, and as you guys did in Vikings, and as you guys did in the Last Kingdom, you're probably gonna be in the comments telling us lore.
This is true, this is fake, this is true, this is fake.
Yeah, we're not gonna take this, like I said, for true history. We're taking this as a continuation of Vikings, so it's fine.
You know what? I do wonder if in this season, maybe the other one, we might see the descendant from Ivar, because we know that he had a kid with Katya from Russ.
Although I don't know if they would know, like, would she have told her kid that your Ivar the Boneless is son?
Maybe.
I don't know.
That would be great if we see one of his descendants.
That's what I meant when I said I kind of hope that we'll see maybe other people who are descended from characters we know, because when we watch Vikings for the first time, it's inspired by history. So it's legends that we have heard about or you have heard about. And it's people inspired by that or straight up taken from those legends. So we're like, cool. But if we don't really know history, they're just characters. But now that they have become legends, we're seeing this and we're like, oh, it's people from those. Like, we get to actually see the history of Viking continuing, and it's pretty cool. So the legacy of those characters, when we get to see it, it gives me chills. It's proof that they kept going. Their name kept going. Their deeds were not forgotten. They inspired stuff that long after they were dead. It's the whole thing for which Ivar fought for. You know, it's the idea of being alive long after you're dead. They still speak their name, and this is pretty cool. This is basically what he wanted, so he got that, and I'm glad. Not just that, the place, the fact that we're still set in the same village, sort of. That's pretty cool. The fact that, you know, we get to see the influence of everything that happened. So it fucking sucks that it started with the betrayal of that treaty, you know, that peace that they had going. But the fact that it still existed 100 years after is pretty cool. And we see the echoes of it.
Even though it's been 100 years since they settled there in Danelaw, I mean,
since they had Danelaw.
Yeah, since they had Danelaw. For the people who still live there, they didn't consider them to be like Saxons. Even though like the Vikings there thought themselves like, we are Saxon, we live in England.
No, Aethelred probably thought like, oh, like him and whoever were behind him, so his counselors or anything, like his advisors, they're probably thinking they're doing some big Christian thing, like, oh, we're ridding our shores of the wrath and of the demons and stuff that infiltrated us. But what he's truly doing is basically bringing them all back to the beginning of the struggle from back then. So what his ancestors did was, you know, make peace with those people, because at one point in Viking, we really had two camps. Like, we had the Vikings and we had the Saxons.
Yeah.
Even in Vikings, though, over time, we had Vikings who settled in England and they started having families and stuff. These people were still very new to England and they still maybe remembered, but they had kids and those kids grew up in England. Like, we had characters who all they knew was England. So imagine that, but 100 years in the future. Some families have never seen Norway. Some people they know nothing of their legacy, like their ancestors and all.
A bunch of them are Christian also.
Exactly, and I love that. I love that we're at a point where we get to have Vikings that are Christians. Like, it's proof that the two cultures really melded, they blend it together, it creates new problems because now we have this the Christians, the Saxons, we have the Danes, so the Vikings that still follow their gods, and we have the mix of the two who would either, choose to help the Vikings to avenge this injustice that was done, but they're still conflicted when it comes to what they fight for, or the people around them, because like they have family who maybe follow Christ and family who still follow Odin, so they would be constantly in between. That fight we have, I don't who was fighting again, what's his name, Harold? Yeah. Harold. Anyway, sorry about the pronunciation. He was literally standing between a Christian and a Viking, trying to, because he's both. So you would have characters like him who are constantly reminded that you don't really belong anywhere yet. You're trying to fit with one, but you're reminded that you're also the other, and vice versa. So, and then you would have people in the middle, like his stepbrother, who, would definitely fight for one side over the other, forgetting that he's also part of the other side. So it's a tricky situation.
Some people sometimes forget that one part of yourself does not define your whole self. The fact that you are Christian, the fact that you are following the old ways, does not change the fact that you are Viking. All of them came from the same place.
Well,
all of them got same friends.
It's because you can be Viking and still be Christian. It's just basically you're a Christian or you're a pagan according to them. So you follow the old ways, or you follow Christ. So being Viking is a job. So it doesn't define your religion at all. And we're at a time where it's not like the beginning of Viking. It's not you're Viking, so you're automatically the enemy of the Christian Saxons. So it gets complicated. There's going to be conflict of interest, but it's always going to be interesting. Conflict is drama. Drama is nice. Well, nice for a TV show.
But I like that. We got the side of old ways Viking. We got the side of Christian Vikings, and you got those in the middle who trying to bring peace, like King Canute from Denmark.
Or those in the middle who pick a side.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we have those who said that it doesn't matter if you're a Christian, pagan, we are one.
This is the best
Viking. That's the best outcome.
Especially since it's not a war on religion. It's not about Christians, it's not about Vikings or Danes, or it's not about Saxons, it's just about families avenging those who were killed. Because at that point, those that were killed in England had been living there for their entire life. Some of them, like, they fucking burnt a Christian church with the cross. They didn't give a shit.
It was a Viking church.
But that's the thing, like, it's the idea of, and I like that they kind of introduced the idea in this episode. It made me think of what we're actually going through today when it comes to racism and our legacies and our ancestral history. The whole idea of, like, do you see yourself in your ancestors and where they came from, or do you see yourself in your people today? Us being French Canadians, some people probably, would be like, oh, like, you're French, you're not Canadians, you come from Europe and stuff, but we have lived our entire life here. Our parents lived our entire life here. Our grandparents, same thing. Like, we've been here for so long. I don't see myself as a French.
I don't consider myself French either. But
the question can still, is kind of, talked about here because for us it's generations, but for them it's a bit shorter than that.
Yes,
so
100 years is not that long.
But do you, like, if you've lived your entire life in the place, do you associate with that place, or do you associate yourself with your ancestors and their legacy? Because for some of them, they associate with their ancestors and they don't want to forget where they came from.
I will say, a part of me would say that, first of all, I would maybe associate with where I come from. Like, I know these people. This is my homeland. But it is true that when you have points in common, like, if people were attacking people who talk French, we speak French.
Yeah.
I would be revolted against it, because we have a connection through language. So they do have a connection through culture,
Well, culture is one thing. History is another, I think. Well, it goes together sometimes, but kind of like I'm still going to use us as an example because I don't want to talk for Native Americans
No,
or
talk about what you know.
African Americans, all of that. Like they have their culture, they have their history, they relate the way they want to relate. So we'll talk about how we relate and how you could see the situation through our eyes. There's, when we go to a family party, we would eat some food that, I always thought like, oh, this is what we eat during, parties and shit. Now that I'm older, I know that the stuff that we used to eat when we were kids actually comes from France. It's stuff that comes from the French culture. It came from our ancestors.
Yeah, of course.
But we also have the stuff that is purely Canadian, purely Québécois. So our culture has evolved. We came here with the culture from Europe, our ancestors, and then it melded. It became a mix of Canadian and French culture. We're a melting pot of the two, and it's fine. We've adapted. If you ask me which people I relate to the most, I relate to Canadians. I don't relate to French people. So when you take that and you put it here, you got Vikings who came with their culture. They're different. They're not Saxons. They definitely have stuff that they relate to, maybe pray to still, but there's also part of their culture that is purely Saxon, purely English. This is their new home. This is their new life. This is their culture. So yes, they're different in some ways, but in many ways, they're also the same. So for a guy like Ethelred to be like, fuck, spit on 100 years of history, they're different. I'm not accepting the change that was set on me back in the day. He's just fucking creating trouble, and considering that it's 100 years, but really 100 years is not that much.
It's not that long. I mean, it's 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah, he probably is trying to like be seen as this great Christian king who purged England of the cancer. Kind of like, oh, my ancestors could not do that. Like they had to settle, but I'm finally bringing that.
I'll be the one to save England and bring it back to its former glory.
Yeah, sort of. When, because like maybe for some of them, they've been told kind of like they also have their history, and not everyone was fine with bringing Danes over and adding Vikings to their neighbors and stuff. So word from, word mouth to mouth and stuff, stories that were told, they were probably told when they were kids, like, oh, like, they're not like us, they're different. Like, they might seem the same, but they're different. So, in their mind, it's still very black and white. There's us and there's them. But, like I kind of said with how we adapted, they adapted too. So, there's no longer them and us. It's literally, we are one people. They just need to accept that times have changed. And yes, some of them might have differences, but where do you draw the line? Because like I said, they've been burning Christian crosses, so it's not just religion. There are Vikings that are Christian, you killed them too. So where do you draw the line? And like there's those who, they're called Danes because their parents came from over there, but they lived their entire life in England. At that point, they're not fucking Danes anymore. They're not from Daneland. They're fucking Saxons if you think about it. It's just that where do you draw the line? It's complicated because some have good arguments for one point. And
even today, I mean, if you want to be bigger and just insult someone, you could say you could in the First or Second War, the English speaker from Canada, they call us.
Do you have a headache?
No, they call us like frogs because of our French heritage, basically.
Frogs?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. I thought about, you said frogs. I was like, why? Because we eat frog legs?
Yeah.
Our dad does, not us. I don't like that.
It's good.
That's not
good. It's kind of
yeah.
But still, people will be bigger and they're gonna, if they are butthurt, they're gonna just pick details to just pick at it.
Well, I mean,
no matter what.
We never lived that, but if you take like immigrants or something, like go back to your country and shit like that, like it's fucking bullshit because like, again, where do you draw the line? If you really want to say to someone who just came here, go back to your country, well, let's go back in history, talk to your ancestors and tell them to go back to your country, At one point, you kind of got to accept that this is the way life is. People travel and they adapt to new places and culture changes. This is how I see it. I'm very open-minded to change and to cultures just becoming something else by adding new people and stuff. Those that were saying like, oh, we're one people, we have a common, goal here. I loved it. Like, this is the best speech. Those two speeches were the best speeches in the entire episode. Well, they were the only two speeches, but they were good, like good speeches, because it's true. It's not about your religion. It's not about where you live. It's about, we have common people over there that died. Doesn't matter if they were Saxon. Doesn't matter if they were married to Saxon. Doesn't matter if they were Vikings and they had Saxon kids. They are family. We cared about them, and they were supposed to be safe. This was supposed to be their country, and they were betrayed.
And we need to take revenge.
But considering that there will always be people, that really relate to who they are, who their parents were, their culture, and they do not like change. They are very proud about this. There will always be conflict. So them saying that, oh, we're united and we put up a united front, we have this one idea, this is good, but the fact that we already have issues between the camps, to a point where you literally have that guy say like, oh, if those Christians see you, you're not gonna have a good time. Like, man, you're supposed to be fighting with these people. So like, I would not want to go into battle thinking that these guys could backstab me when they're supposed to be my shield protecting me.
Probably they went there because they have one objective in mind. Like they said, at core Vikings, they want glory. They want glory in battle.
Everyone
like
wants
that,
glory.
That half-brother of from Harold.
Olaf.
Yeah.
Who reminds me of someone, by the way. I don't know where I saw him, but...
He technically said it himself. His love for gold surpasses his love for his Christ, basically.
No, I said that.
No, but still, if there is a prophet, he's gonna take it, even if it goes against his value as a Christian.
Well, everyone is pretty much the same when it comes to gold, honestly. This is a flaw in. I mean, we almost all have that weakness, and they definitely do have that weakness. There's the principle of why we're here, why we're doing this, but. Kind of like back then when they had that great army and they wanted to avenge Ragnar. Like, that's one thing to say, oh, I'm doing this for Ragnar. But when you don't know the guy, it's inspiring to do it for the man who you've heard so many stories about, but you don't really know him. So why would you put your life at risk to defend him? Either you truly believe in what he represented, or you're in it because war brings glory, honor, and money, and yeah. So the idea of war is inspiring to some people, especially back in those days when you fight, that's when you make a name for yourself. So, it's a pretty intense first episode. We're bringing back a lot of issues from Vikings. In Vikings, it was a lot of discussions about religion and what was right, what was wrong. Because nothing is wrong.
I missed those.
I do. I mean, I thought it was really great discussions back in the day, so I'm excited to see how we're gonna explore this, this new reality.
It was great discussion that we had back then, but it is sometimes complicated and frustrating because we live in a modern day. So in our mind, we're open-minded. It doesn't matter.
We are, not everyone is.
But for us, I mean, it doesn't matter for us. Like, if you believe in one thing and someone believes in another thing. So to see this is frustrating, you know?
Although we are like that. Like I said in the episode, I said it's too soon to expect them to embrace new religions and stuff, but it's still too soon because apparently, I mean, today people are still fighting over this. Like, if you don't have the same religion, some people would be fucking pissed. Not everyone is open-minded. It's frustrating.
No, but unfortunately, sometimes people's beliefs are so strong that it's hard to move them.
Leads to disaster, man. And that's the worst because, like, with faith and religion, I do believe that no one is really wrong. Except it depends on what they do with that faith and religion, but
yeah.
But like, we have no proof of anything. So like, when it comes to religion, we can't say that, oh, you have the wrong religion. Like, we can't say. I don't have a religion. I don't follow any religion.
A bunch of them come out from the same origin, also.
Sometimes, yeah. So those discussions of Saxons versus Danes, it was Vikings versus Christians, and like sometimes we followed people from one side, and sometimes we would follow people from the other side. It makes for good episodes, good dilemmas and good debates. In any case, so that was episode 1. I'm getting tired, so
Already so far, I got 3 people in mind that I think I'm gonna keep an eye on them.
Well, the main characters.
Like Canute, Harold, and Leaf.
Freydis is pretty cool too, depending on what
Freydis?
she does. Well, the sister.
Yeah. So depends. I don't want to like a second breeder. I hope that I know that she has a revenge.
I wouldn't say a second breed.
No, but I know that she has a revenge and
She
she's
did
gonna
it.
act that she did it. But I just hope that day to day she's not gonna be like over the top, you know.
You've been hunted by Brita.
Yes.
Traumatized.
I know. I know.
Okay. So we're gonna end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode with us. If you want to see the next one right away, it will be on Patreon very soon, so check it out. The link is in the description below.
And if you don't want the next one, she'll be on YouTube pretty soon.
Yes.
So we're gonna see you
next
then.
week. Next week.
Bye guys.
Bye.